Welcome back, everybody. This is your three-man booth. I'm Dan Salem with Phil and Bud, and we are in the off season of one league, but kicking off another. XFL just started, and it's pretty exciting. I was having a little deja vu because we talked at length about the AAF last year, but it's definitely different. And you guys were all for it. I think you watched more this year than you did last year. So, what was it like? What are your first impressions?
So my first impression is it seems like at first glance, I know we're only 1 week in and only 4 games in, but it looks like a lot of the mistakes that they made the first go round are not being made this go round. Like, I don't know how much of the broadcast you guys watch, but it looks like a legit sport. Like, it looks like a legit broadcast. It's very professional. You would have no idea, absolutely none, that it was run by Vince McMahon. There's no ties to it whatsoever. Maybe they mentioned it because everybody already knows that. But the first iteration of the XFL, I mean, Vince McMahon's on the field, The Rock's on the field. Like, there's fireworks and everything. Like, it was a big show, and that's what it was at the time. It is a complete 180 the second go round of the XFL than it was for the first.
Well, but I had a thought.
I was just going to say that, the XFL did really good the first time around with all the fanfare and all that stuff for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then it kind of died down. So I will say this, that the quality on the field is better than I was expecting it to be. It's certainly not the AAF. That was garbage from the get-go. But I'll say that, it looks like a legitimate football game. I love the kickoff. I think that that's something that the NFL should really look at. And the only reason I say that is that statistically, the kickoff is where the most injuries happen, right? So there's less point to contact, less opportunity for these guys to run full steam ahead before they get hit. So I mean, it's I like that, but
yeah. So that they can't. There's no running up. They're down with the receiving team and the kickers at the 30-yard line kicking by himself. Right. For those
if the ball doesn't get past the 20-yard line, they get the ball on the opposite 45-yard line. So it forces the kicker to kick it, but not kick it in the end zone.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
because they don't want touchbacks either.
Yeah.
So
but
again, let's see what this turns out to in by week 5. I mean, the attendances are low. I mean,
they're in a 20,000 seat stadium, and they filled it. Every game had 17 across the board. So I mean, it's
okay, but again, let's see what happens in the next 4 weeks, right? Like, Vince McMahon has come out and said that he has enough money and capital to fund the league for 3 years.
And that was the problem with the AAF, obviously. That was a big problem.
Yeah.
Right. So
one of their problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than the quality of football being bad. So this is obviously a 3-year deal, right? If that's what he's saying, that he's got enough money to fund it with.
Well, So that statement right there is for the fans, but it's very possible that if the ratings absolutely tank, that ESPN and Fox aren't going to carry the games next year, and then that could do him in. That's what did him in the last time. He got dropped from the television, and then they kind of just folded the league. But
the product was bad on the field. It was wrestling with football. This looks like football. I mean, if people want to watch football. This is, I mean, I didn't watch the whole games, but I watched a good majority of them, and I was intrigued.
Well, I'm impressed because we were harping on them for learning from their mistakes, right? And they had the fanfare the first time around, but they were playing a regular football game, and it sucked because the players weren't good enough, and they hadn't played together, and it just was really bad football. And so everyone left after week 1. The AAF tried to do some right things and be a minor league football, but it was really bad football. Everything the XFL has done so far has made the game more exciting, and they're really focused on pace of play, and that really is covering bad football. So it's working to its advantage so far. I think it's.
I didn't feel like the game was any faster, by the way.
Well, that's I think it may have balanced out. I mean, they have a 25-second game, shorter play clock. and they have a referee on the field devoted to switching the balls out to try to cut down on the time between plays. So I don't know. I can only imagine it's going to speed up as the weeks go on, but if that was slower, like the NFL, you may feel like the game wasn't as much fun. And so it might just help. I feel like it's balancing it out. I mean, because it's going to be inherently slower. These players aren't as fast as the NFL guys or they'd be in the NFL. So,
But I read something that 65% of the players that are playing in the league were on NFL rosters at some point last year.
okay.
So they are obviously good enough football players to maybe play in the NFL, but not really play in the NFL. So, I mean.
Yeah, they were obviously all very close. And it'd be interesting if some of them end up making NFL rosters in the fall. They will no longer be in the XFL most likely because you can't play year-round football. That's just too much on your body. So,
yeah, I wonder how that's going to work. I don't know if these guys are signed for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. I haven't gotten into that, that deep of knowledge to figure out if some of these guys shine in the next 4 months. Are we going to see them in the fall? I don't know. I don't know how their contracts are structured.
No, I'm not sure either. I mean, I could see it happening for a quarterback. Some of the other players seem much less likely.
I'll tell you what. I forgot about the name Cardell Jones until Saturday. I completely forgot about this guy. He played at Ohio State, won a national championship, signed by the Bills, and you never heard from him again. I completely forgot about this guy. I watched a lot of his game on Saturday. Guy's good still. He's still got it.
Yeah, no.
It's lesser competition, but still.
Well, but he's young and he's still very good. He was almost NFL caliber. He got drafted. So, yeah, it's nice to see that. I thought I read that every player has the same salary. I don't know if that's accurate or if it's the same starting.
Quarterbacks are getting paid more.
Well, maybe the same. Every position has the same salary. So nobody on different teams are making more. I mean, that's they were trying to start with some sort of an even keel. And so if they're going to get out for more money for the NFL, they're going to want to leave. But
well, yeah, that right. I don't think you can't. The money disparity is going to be no. You can't compare it, right? We'll have to look at that. We'll have to see what they're making. I thought I saw something, and it was only mentioned once that the winner of each game, does the team get $100,000? Like, there's a $100,000 prize for winning the game. I don't know if that's distributed evenly, and that's what you're thinking of, or it was only mentioned once or twice throughout the whole weekend that I saw. I mean, I saw a lot, bits and pieces of a lot of the games, but I only caught that once. I'm
laughing because all the teams are owned by the league. So the league's going to pay themselves. They must go to the players because.
Well, yeah, it was going to the players, correct?
Yeah, so not to the team, but.
I don't know if that's what you were thinking of. Maybe that gets split evenly.
Maybe.
I forgot what the average salary was. I did read it somewhere a couple months ago, but
$55,000 or $60,000 or something like that.
It's in my mind what it was.
And do you know if they're expected to give a year-round commitment, or is this kind of like a 6-month commitment for them? I'm not. That'd be another interesting. NFL's year-round commitment if you're on the team, obviously. You have an off-season.
I think it's just the commitment for the season. And then some of these players are going to hope that they've done well and then they can report to NFL teams. If not, then there's always going to be,
Okay, but like the season begins 2 months before the kick, February, obviously, then, because they got to have some practice and prep time.
Well, they've been doing like training camp and stuff since December.
Yeah. So, 2 months. Okay. Yeah, so the expectation is that they wouldn't be on an NFL roster if they're playing in the XFL. But.
No, I think something where I read is that if they sign a contract with the XFL, they can't get out of it and go to the NFL. They're in the XFL, but when it's done, when the season's over, then they can figure out if they're going to get picked up, and if they don't get picked up, they can sign another contract.
Okay.
So the championship game of the XFL, hopefully we get there. It's April 26th. Is the draft still in April? Is the NFL draft in April? Did it get moved to May?
It's the day after the final day of the draft.
That was intentional. That's smart.
So the draft ends on Saturday because it starts on Thursday now.
Yeah.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday will be the NFL draft, and then the championship for the XFL will be that Sunday. It's actually
that's
brilliant.
That's real smart. Yeah, that's real good.
They really thought it out. I mean, it's not like the last time where, they thought they were going to have a football league, and then 8 months later they have a football league. This has been going on for 2.5, 3 years, right?
Well,
so
and Vince McMahon, to his credit, has extremely successful businesses. So I mean, he may come off as this weirdo I don't know exactly how to describe it, but
he lays on a bed of full of money every night, so you can't deny his commitment.
He's done well,
He's
even if
worth
he's
$3
alienated
million.
people.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
So I want this to succeed. I mean, the other two leagues had good opening numbers for the first weekend, and then everyone left, didn't come back. But the product wasn't as good.
Right.
There's also just this feels cooler. I mean, we already recognized the logos because we saw them before. They didn't try to change those on us, which is smart. So we're like, I see them and I know them, but I don't remember why, and it's because we saw them the first time. So
You mean the team logos or the actual XFL logo?
I think the team logos too, right? They look familiar to me.
They're all new because I think the first go around the New York, New Jersey team was like the Hitmen. Now they're the Guardians.
Oh, maybe I just remember them from from a year ago. Then that must be it.
I don't know if they stole like maybe the actual name of the team, like the Vipers or Renegades. I have to look, but the actual cities that they use and the team names for those cities are all brand new.
Oh, all right. Well, I stand corrected, but for whatever reason, that they feel familiar. So maybe it's because we've been talking about them since the AAF folded. But
could be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot. I mean, we kind of got away from the aspects of that game, but one of the things that I think is awesome, and I'm pretty sure the NFL is going to steal, is this point after touchdown thing where you get 1 point from the 2 points from the 5, and 3 points from the 10.
Yeah, I love that.
So I heard something interesting today that the NFL is actually the one who won this weekend because they're like, all right, here's a new league, the XFL. They have no money invested in them. They're trying out all these cool, innovative ideas. And if they work, the NFL can just be like, you know what? We're going to take that idea. And they can. I think. I don't think there's any intellectual property on any of these ideas. So they can adopt any of these cool new rules.
One, like showing some of the play calling is kind of cool. It gets the fans
invested.
Which
will never happen. That'll never happen in the NFL.
So here's the one thing. Here's the one thing that I think is a little screwy with the whole thing. So over the broadcast, you can listen into what the coach is saying to the players, like the play calling and all this stuff. Like
that'll never fly in the NFL.
Well, not only won't fly in the NFL, what's preventing from these coaches just watching the broadcast and saying, okay, well, I hear what the play is and I see what the lineup is. I mean, I know what the
No. Well, it's just changing strategy.
There's a 30-second delay.
But the other thing is, you're gonna watch it in preparation for your next week's game. You're gonna watch all that.
Yep.
And you're gonna have to throw curveballs. So what I was reading was like, well, they're gonna have to do things like in baseball where you have signs and you change up signs. Or one coach is like, I'm just gonna call numbers in and give the guy a little sheet so that so you can trick the other team into thinking
you're doing it's gonna be like college football watching Oregon where they have 15 posters up.
Yeah, right.
And, one's a duck and another one's a Bill Murray. And
you turn that into the skimpy lady holding the number cards, and you're not going to be complaining.
By the way, it's not really working for Major League Baseball with the signs. I mean, people are still.
Oh no, that's turned rather foul. Yes, pun intended.
It is neat that the access that the XFL has given you with the coaches and the players. You can hear their discussion. What's really cool, I don't know if you guys saw, there was a replay in, I think it was one of the games on Sunday. There was a catch, a fumble, and a return for a touchdown. And you actually heard and saw the guy in the booth looking at the replay, talking to the ref on the field. And literally you heard him, well, you saw him, but you also heard his thought process about, was it a catch? Was it not a catch? Did the ball cross the plane? Did it not cross the plane? Like, that's awesome. And again, that'll never happen in the NFL either, by the way.
Well, it could, though. I mean, what do they lose?
It could. I just don't think it will.
But I think Phil's right. It won't happen in the NFL because the referees are under such a microscope already. Could you imagine if they put a camera and a microphone in the booth, and now all of a sudden the replay guy is getting killed just as much as the referee on the field is getting killed? You don't think take away the cameras on the referee?
You don't think that transparency would help people stop ripping them? I mean,
not in the NFL. I mean, not when you have people who are degenerate gamblers betting on money, and it's just going to be people more aggravated. I will say that the XFL is doing a very good job with that because right on the screen it has the line right on the bottom, like who the favorite by how much and what the over-under is. I mean, they are really focusing on the gambling, which is going to be successful for them because people want to bet on football games.
Yeah.
Football games.
Well, and the AAF tried to do a whole app with like fantasy numbers. Well, it was crap, but it was along those lines of playing off of immersing you in the gambling aspect of the game. So
it was so bad. I downloaded that app and I tried to follow it with the game. The thing never worked. It was complete garbage.
Oh, they made a lot of mistakes, but they may have had some decent ideas along the way.
But like Bud said, like the play on the field, and that was the first go around in the XFL was just it was bad football, right? This felt completely different. Yeah, you're gonna have a guy that misses a pass. You're gonna have a guy that doesn't catch a pass, right? That happens in the NFL, and no one expects everybody to catch the pass that's thrown to them or run for a touchdown. There's gonna be good defensive plays. There's gonna be good offensive plays, but just overall, the tone and the feel felt like it was better quality than the first go around, and also compared to the AAF.
Well, and they got really good coaches. I mean, the AAF had some solid coaches too, but all of it's just a good package.
Kevin Gilbride is running our New York team there, huh?
Could you imagine any other business where you have a startup league, okay? You've never played a game before. You have 1 week and a coach is already getting fired.
You saw that.
How are they
fired?
There is the guy from the defensive coordinator from the LA team. There must have been something like going on.
Yeah.
Because you can't play one game, like the inaugural game, and you get fired from that. I mean, it's a learning curve for everybody. So there must have been something going on before that.
Yeah.
I thought that was a hoax at first, but no, it was legit.
Oh man.
I saw it and I was like, that can't be right. I mean, it's only been one game. He's getting fired.
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe these teams are taking this league really seriously already.
And Adam Gase made it through the whole year. Can you believe that?
Hey, I made the comment to you guys. What team's going to win more games at MetLife Stadium? The Guardians of the XFL or the Jets and Giants here? Right now, the Guardians are winning. They're 1-0.
Well, the Jets won 7 games. And how many did they play? 10?
So yeah, they only play 10 games. So it'll be
a lot of room there. And it can't be combined. It obviously would have to be more than 9.
It's got to be single.
Yeah. I mean, if they're that good, they should win 8 or 9, but we'll see.
They look pretty good, actually. They had a good running game going. So
Oh.
Yeah, I was disappointed LA didn't really show up. Because it's a new league, I'm more rooting for LA than New York. But
and you can, because you know it's the first time in our lifetimes that we have the choice of whatever team you want to root for. Like, we're not born into it, where it's not like you've had this allegiance for teams that have been around for 50 years. No, this is week 1 of, you know, however long this is going to. Steve Levy made a hilarious comment. I think they played the very first game on Saturday, and Steve Levy goes, "Man, we just celebrated the 100 years of NFL. So if we celebrate the 100 years of the XFL, I want this to be the first broadcast. We want to make it a good one."
yeah. That'd be interesting.
I mean, you got Steve Levy in the booth. Greg McElroy was there. I know I've heard of him before. They got the people on the sideline interviewing players after they're missing kicks and creating fumbles and scoring touchdowns. Like, the second something happens, there's someone's got a microphone in their face, getting that raw emotion. It's awesome. It's really cool access.
Yeah, when a lot of the guys had mics in their helmets too, right? So they were being recorded and they didn't realize, or they forgot.
Yeah, it's just a whole different atmosphere on the field. And I forget one of the reporters that was on ESPN today, I think it was on Golic and Wingo, and she's just like, I've been doing things that I could never even dream of doing in the NFL. I've been the access that I get is by far more than I'll ever get in the NFL.
And another major selling point that they were trying to push, and I think they got close, is $30 tickets across the board, or on average. So like, you could go to the game and for less than $100 as a family. And I think they got close. It wasn't quite there with some markups and stuff, but if they can hold that, that'll be huge too. I think that's why they had good attendance numbers, because people are like, whatever, it's cheap, I'll go.
I looked, as I was sitting there, I was like, oh, how much is one of the, because they play in MetLife Stadium. So you're in an 80, 90,000 seat venue. They're only selling the lower bowl. So obviously your view is going to be a lot better, but I saw tickets for $30. It's, again, with fees and taxes and stuff, it might be a little more, but that's what makes it. It looks a little smaller. Like, so that for that New York game, the attendance didn't look as good, because when they throw the wide shot, tier 2 and 3 are completely empty. But one of the teams, I think it's in Houston or maybe the LA team, they were playing in a soccer stadium, and that thing was, it made it look a lot fuller.
Well, the LA team played in the same stadium the Chargers were. It's at 20,000. It only seats 20,000, so it was it was packed. Yeah. They sold out more than the Chargers did all year.
Can we talk a little NFL here?
Absolutely. I think this is a good transition.
Because that's a great transition because the Chargers are moving on from Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
They made it official yesterday. And now the great debate is, are they going to try to get Tom Brady?
So I'm laughing because I don't think that their team is good enough to support Tom Brady, especially if Melvin Gordon's leaving, because I don't know why they bring him back. I mean, they got a good team, but they struggled mightily last season. I don't know. So Jacksonville, we all assumed they would bounce back after a great season and then a bad season, and they absolutely did not, even with Nick Foles to Minshew. Do you think the Chargers are going to bounce back? I mean, maybe that's the first question before whether the Tom Brady is a realistic.
I think they have a very low draft pick, and I think they see the writing on the wall, and it's time to draft their next quarterback. I mean, It's a very heavy quarter. I mean, you can get 6 quarterbacks in the first round this year. So
I think it was
what, 4 or 5, right?
Well, hold on. I think it was smart to move on from Rivers, but you're talking about bringing in Brady, who is arguably older and less mobile, but more accurate.
Not arguably, he is older.
Okay. Well, body age, actual age. But anyways, yeah.
Makes sense.
I don't think. I mean, there were reports that he bought a house in Vegas, but I don't know why he would go play for a team with a worse defense than the Patriots. Because
who? Tom Brady bought a house in Vegas?
That's what I was reading reports. I don't know if it was substantiated.
Well, I know that he just bought a house in Greenwich.
Yeah. I mean, he owns lots of homes. So you can read into it, or you could just say whatever. He wants a house there. I think he still has a house in like Brookline or something, even though he sold his home in downtown.
Could the Cowboys go after Tom Brady? Because they have a team that
you shake your head. They are not. They have not paid Prescott yet.
I'm shaking my head because I think in the end it won't happen. I think they will, and in the end, pay Prescott. So yes, it's possible. I just realistically, I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, here's interesting. They probably got 2 to 3 more really, really top tier years of Zeke. They're lucky, right? Do you pay Prescott an exorbitant amount of money and handicap the rest of your football team, or bring in a veteran for half the price? I mean, because he's young.
You're not going to get Tom Brady for half the price.
No, you're not Brady, but you could get Phillip Rivers.
That would be interesting if Rivers went to Dallas.
I mean,
here's how I look at it. Like, in our lifetime, we've never had this kind of scenario, right? Like, he's arguably the greatest player of a generation, maybe probably in some people's eyes, the greatest player that has ever played the game. And he's gonna have his choice of wherever he wants to go. He's not locked up. And I guess I read something along the lines of Robert Kraft said, "Listen, test the free agency." I mean,
wait, hold on. Like, I don't know if they're gonna let him enter free agency, because like the Patriots are just gonna sit around and wait for Brady to make a decision. They got to get the quarterback if he's not gonna play for them.
I mean, somebody's going to pay him, who is desperate, who feels like they can win right now.
Okay,
$30 million.
So we all kind of agree that we think Belichick wants him to go, because Cam Newton would be an upgrade. Rivers might even be an upgrade, just because Brady's like, he couldn't do anything without weapons last year, and I don't blame him. But there are quarterbacks available that could. I mean, Jameis Winston, I know he threw a ton of interceptions, but how that guy really – I mean, if anybody can stop him, it's going to be the Patriots stopping him throwing those INTs. I'm not suggesting these guys can go there, but there's some good younger players available.
I just find it very hard to think that he's going to play anywhere other than New England.
Yeah, me too, especially since he's only got a year or 2 left. Why wouldn't he just re-up for a season?
He wants to play another 4 or 5 years. I mean, listen, if you put him on a team with a solid offensive line, let's say Dallas, let's say the Colts, all right? Both teams need quarterbacks. One team has kind of a quarterback. The Colts don't have a quarterback. If you put Tom Brady on the Colts, they could win the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Tom Brady to the Colts is a great move, because Brissett's a great backup too. And
he's already been his backup, and they have a really good offensive line, and they have a really good running game. They have weapons on the outside, and they have a decent defense.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The good thing is we only have to wait a few more weeks because free agency starts March 1st, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
whatever it is. So in that first week of March is when free agency starts.
yeah. Well, there are a lot of names. There are 7 or 8 guys out there at quarterback.
Isn't Teddy Bridgewater going to be available or no?
And so is Taysom Hill.
Ryan Tannehill available.
I'm thinking of if Brady leaves, the Patriots go after Bridgewater.
Yeah, but I mean, they could bring in someone like Tannehill too, who just crushed it with the same style team in Tennessee.
They did, but
what about Tom Brady on Tennessee?
Don't you think Tennessee's going to pay Tannehill?
Why would you
pay Tannehill if you could get Tom Brady? Put Tom Brady with Derrick Henry and that offensive line and that defense.
Because then you're only going to get Brady for 1, maybe 2 years.
If it brings him a Super Bowl, it'll be worth it.
But so here's my feeling. I don't trust Tannehill to be nearly as good as he was this past season. If he stays in Tennessee, if he goes somewhere else, he's got to prove himself again, and he could probably step up to the plate. He's always been good, but he also got hurt a lot in his career. You don't bring him in unless you have a backup that you love.
But this was the first year that he was legitimately healthy. He wasn't injured at all.
Yeah. So the odds are he's going to get hurt. So it's hard to trust him. Do we like Cam Newton at all, or is he just too much of a wild card off of his injury?
I think he's too much of a wild card. I mean, we don't know what he's going to come off of the Lynch Frank, and I think he's got a lot of. I mean, I could picture him on Chicago. Chicago's got a really good defense, but Chicago's offense is missing a lot of pieces.
Well, I really like Phillip Rivers to Tampa Bay. They got the receiving weapons. And I don't think they should bring back Winston with this market of other available quarterbacks.
Interceptions is warranted for a big contract.
Who?
For Jameis Winston.
Man,
somebody's going to pick him up.
No. He's going to get signed by a team. I don't think he should go back to Tampa Bay. I think they need to move on. I think he held them back last season, even though he performed well. But he nearly set a record for interceptions. It's like I can't bring myself to support him because of that.
Didn't Bruce Arians say that his sister could throw just as many interceptions or something like that? He gave him like some sort of back-ended ass compliment or whatever. But
Mariota's available too. How about those two guys? Both not necessarily living up to expectations, but
you know what's nice with all this quarterback talk? The 2 teams we know aren't having a quarterback is exactly. Neither one of our teams have to worry about this quarterback carousel this year.
It has been like it was the same last season for the Jets, but it has been so long that I haven't cared what happened in this mess.
Isn't it nice?
but here's the deal, fella. Not to play devil's advocate, this is a big year for Sam.
No, I'm saying going into this year. I'm not saying what's going to happen after. I said going into the 2020 season.
But there's going to be pressure on him.
Absolutely.
To be better. And a lot of this comes to coaching, and we all.
He's got to be as good or better. But they also need a good number 2, a new good backup, because he hasn't played a full season either of his first 2 years. So they needed a good backup quarterback also, and they don't have.
They had a legitimate backup quarterback when he went out with mono. They could have. I mean,
that's true, and then he broke his ankle. So, but they don't have one now. So
yeah, I guess.
Well, Fitzpatrick's coming back for another season, which is just silly to me. But he doesn't
make complete sense, though. I think it makes complete because the Dolphins, if they're smart, are probably going to draft Tua. And if Tua's not ready to play, you need a 1-year stopgap, and Fitzpatrick fits that perfectly.
Well, it made me wonder. A player like him, he may age out of the NFL, but he could go and just dominate the XFL. Would they do something like that? Like, would he do something like that?
I don't think he would do something like that. First off, they wouldn't pay him the money that he would want. I mean, very similar to Kaepernick. You read the report from Andrew Luck's dad about. Apparently they called Kaepernick and he wanted some crazy amount of money.
He wanted $20 million.
I mean, I don't know if I believe that. I also the same headline said that they were very firm about him respecting the flag when you knew he was not going to. So I mean, I think there was gamesmanship on both sides, but he was never going to play for the XFL.
I don't think so either. But I did you see the same thing with Manziel? Manziel was crushing him on Twitter. He's like, I don't want to play for a league that's going to maybe not make it through the season. They don't want you anyway.
Well, here's the thing. Like a player like him, if he went and played there, he would become the face of the league immediately and get all the sponsorships if it's successful. If the league is successful, he's a known name, and it still carries weight in public circles. Like that's the thing. Kaepernick carries weight. He would, even if they didn't want him to, he'd become the face of the league because everyone knows who he is. People don't know these players, but if you know somebody like that, like that's why I threw Fitzpatrick out there, because all football fans know Fitzpatrick. So like it immediately brings you to want to see if he's going to just destroy them because he was a former NFL guy. So
that can be true. I wonder if I just as we go on and hopefully we're talking years, it's like what kind of players are they getting? Are they getting the guys that just missed the NFL and didn't get drafted? Are they getting guys that got cut from practice squads, or are they just getting guys who just want to play? I don't know or are they getting guys at the end, like you said, they're done with their NFL career. They're not going to get re-signed again for whatever reason. I heard a bunch of names this weekend. Matt Jones, remember him? He was a backup for Washington Redskins. So there's a lot of names. Landry Jones, he played in the NFL.
Mark Sanchez, if he wasn't an announcer, he's probably too far removed. Sanchez.
Yeah, he's too far removed.
But like, what about Marcus Mariota? Like, if they have a successful season one and Mariota doesn't get a backup job next year, which he probably will, but if he doesn't.
That'd be that's what I'm saying. Like that would be a player like that we may see there.
But my point is that you can't take Mariota, who's making $8 million a year, and then pay him $500,000 a year.
You can if nobody in the NFL signs him.
If he doesn't,
but he's not gonna. Phil, if somebody was paying you $300,000 a year at your job, and then you got laid off, and somebody said, "Hey, Phil, I'll hire you for $30,000 a year." Are you taking that job? Or are you holding out for another job?
Well, why hold out? But why hold out if he can play in the XFL and then still go to NFL training camp in the summer?
To me, that's just a huge pay cut.
I mean, yes, it is a huge pay cut. But if he saved his money, he's got it. And it's also like, do you want to play football, or do you not want to play football?
I mean, these guys are only 30-something years old. Well, you got to do something for the rest of your life. Yeah, maybe he did very well and saved his money, but
does he want to be a starter and maybe be the star of the league, or does he want to be a third-string quarterback that everyone forgets about? He could be the XFL MVP. And that's endorsements. That's endorsements. So you got, if you think big picture, there's stuff.
There's a guy who played this weekend. They interviewed him. I think he had 3 torn ACLs and like a broken collarbone or something. And they asked him, "Why are you playing in the NFL or in the XFL?" He's like, "Because I love the game of football." I mean, this guy had 3 massive injuries, and he's like, "I just want to play the game of football."
Yeah, I mean, something like Mariota is maybe not a great example, but it's somebody like a player that legitimately is not going to play. Like, it'd be very interesting to see why they would. Who's going to make the decision?
Just like Cardell Jones, he was great in college, didn't play in the NFL, and this is his second chance. I
mean, Josh Rosen has disappeared. If he's not going to be a backup, and no one's going to give him an opportunity, maybe he'll go play. He'd be a starter in a second. So it's or these 6th-round picks. Do you want to get drafted 7th round in the NFL and go to the practice squad, or do you want to go start in the XFL? I don't know. The money might be comparable at that point. So it's
that's why I'm honestly rooting for it. None of us think it's going to overtake the NFL. That's never going to happen. But if it can just be a secondary option, that's perfect. That's what it's. I think that's what the end goal is. It's just be a secondary option. It's never going to be the NFL.
I want to be excited to watch their championship after the draft. I mean, the draft is still up here.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Any final thoughts from you guys? This has been a good off-season combo.
No, but before we get cut off, I mean, in like 3 weeks, the fun starts. That's the NFL free agency.
Yes. We'll find a time to gather, Phil. You may have some sags under your eyes with your new baby, but we'll have to dive deep into this. We'll see if these quarterbacks sign before then.
Good luck, Phil.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks for watching BuzzChomp.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Subscribe and share.
Share.
Woo.